Bengal, around 750. For the past 100 years, this land has had no king, no law, and absolutely no plan. The ancient sources have a technical term for this period: Matsyanyaya, the law of the fish. Big fish eats little fish. Repeat forever. Picture millions of people, each one his own independent government. It went exactly as well as you were imagining. So around 750, Bengal's exhausted warlords tried something almost no one in Indian history had tried before. They held an election. This is the story of the empire that voted itself into existence, and the 18 horsemen who, so the story goes, ended its age. This is the Bengal saga. Meet the electorate. Roughly 40 warlords, a century of trust issues, and one shared realization: anarchy has terrible returns.
All in favor of literally anyone being in charge. Say aye.
They picked a commander named Gopala. Grandfather, a scholar. Father, a soldier. Gopala, about to be upper management.
I humbly accept. Quick question. What happened to the previous king?
Which one?
Small print for the historians. Elected means acclaimed by the chieftains. Less a ballot box, more a very tired group chat agreeing on a manager. A Tibetan legend claims this job used to kill every holder on night 1. Gopala survived it with a magic club. History, sadly, does not confirm the club. Here's what history does confirm. It worked. Gopala calmed Bengal, and his family, the Palas, kept the throne for 400 years. To understand the next 50 years, you need one city: Kannauj, the old imperial capital of the north. Hold Kannauj, and you could call yourself Lord of North India. It was a throne, a granary, and a toll booth, all in one. 3 superpowers wanted it: the Palas from the east, the Pratiharas from the west, and from the deep south, the Rashtrakutas. Remember the Rashtrakutas, they have a bit. Gopala's son Dharmapala inherited the kingdom, and a dream: Kannauj. Now, there was just one small problem with Dharmapala's military career. All of it. Round 1. The Pratihara king Vatsaraja crushed him and stole his 2 white royal umbrellas. Not a joke. It's in the enemy's own victory inscription.
White as autumn moonbeams. Beautiful. I'm putting that in my victory inscription about your umbrellas, which are mine now.
Round 2. The Rashtrakutas arrived from the south, flattened Vatsaraja, chased him into an actual desert, and then flattened Dharmapala too. New management for the umbrellas.
I'll be taking those umbrellas. And now, having conquered everything worth conquering, we're going home.
And they went home. 1,000 miles, voluntarily, undefeated. Keep count of how many times this happens, which left exactly one king standing in the wreckage: Dharmapala. 0 victories, all the territory. He strolled into Kannauj and installed his own puppet king. Then he threw a coronation and made 9 kings attend. His inscription insists they approved it, bowing respectfully, with their diadems trembling.
Scribe, note the trembling. I want the trembling in writing.
Historians will tell you those vassals went home fully independent. Dharmapala will tell you about the trembling. He now styled himself Lord of the North. Career battle record: 0 and 2. It couldn't last. Vatsaraja's son Nagbhata II took Kannauj back, then beat Dharmapala again at Munger, which was Dharmapala's own city. Pratihara tradition claims he faced 50,000 Pala war elephants that day. Citation needed. That's not an army, that's a continent of elephants. 0 and 3. So how does a hero bounce back? He doesn't. The Rashtrakutas do it for him. Again.
Nagabhata, flattened. The north, ours. Anyway, long commute, boys. Home time.
Twice. Twice, the strongest team in India won the tournament and refused to collect the trophy. Final tally on Dharmapala? Lost every major battle he personally fought, and died the most powerful king in North India. He also married a Rashtrakuta princess. If you can't beat them, and he demonstrably could not, join them. His son Devapala didn't need the Rashtrakuta cheat code. Per his own plates, Devapala just won. Constantly. Assam submitted without a fight. Odisha's king fled his own capital, and the victory inscriptions got poetic about it. His war elephants, one plate says, wept with joy at reuniting with their wild cousins in the Vindhyas. Official imperial records, measuring conquest in emotional elephant reunions. One famous pillar brags he humbled everyone from the Himalayas to both oceans. But read the fine print. The pillar was commissioned by his minister's family. About themselves.
By the wise counsel of Minister Dharmapala, the king conquered the earth. Perfect. Chisel, exactly that.
The empire's grandest monument to its greatest king stars the middle manager. Offices are eternal. But honestly, the wars are not why the Palas matter. This is why the Palas matter. Universities. The Palas ran the greatest network of higher learning on the planet. Nalanda alone ran on the tax revenue of 200 villages. Tibetan tradition describes Nalanda's library as 9 stories tall, with a building named the Sea of Jewels. Note the fine print. Tradition describes. And admissions were brutal. At the gate stood a professor whose entire job was to quiz applicants. Most travelers failed. At the door,
Sir, I have walked 2,000 miles to study here.
Then this will be a short conversation. Define emptiness.
It's when nothing...
Correct demonstration. Wrong answer. Next.
Dharmapala, yes, Mr. 0 and 3, founded a whole second university, Vikramashila, reportedly because he felt Nalanda's standards were slipping. He built a third at Somapura, the largest monastery in the subcontinent. It's still there. UNESCO guards it now. Try losing every battle and building that. The brand went international. Tibet's first monastery was, by tradition, a licensed copy of a Bihar campus. Kings across Asia wanted a franchise. A king in Sumatra, 4,000 kilometers away, across an ocean, wrote in to endow a building at Nalanda.
Hello, one monastery please. Money is no object. I rule the ocean.
Approved. It comes with 5 villages for maintenance.
Meanwhile, an Arab merchant reported the Pala army kept 15,000 men just for laundry and firewood, plus 50,000 elephants. Merchant math. Citation needed. Weirdest flex of all. This superpower barely minted coins. The entire economy ran on cowrie shells, shipped in bulk from the Maldives. An empire, powered by seashells. Their other flex, cotton so fine a robe could pass through a signet ring. Bengal muslin, the world would fight over it for centuries. Quality control, one ring. And note the politics. Buddhist kings, mostly Hindu subjects, land grants for everybody's temples. Nobody was making a point. It simply worked. Then came the classic imperial arc. Devapala died, and the next century of Palas were fine. Fine like a car with no engine is technically still a car. They actually lost Bengal, the actual Bengal, to local upstarts and spent decades as emperors of Bengal ruling from Bihar. Landlords, locked out of their own house. Around 990, Mahipala I clawed everything back. The second founder. Bengal loved him so much, farmers were still singing Mahipala songs 500 years later, while husking rice. There are far worse legacies than being the rice-husking song guy. Around 1021, an army from the deep south marched up the coast, beating everyone in its path, including Mahipala. The Cholas. Yes, those guys. We made a video.
Defeat their kings, bottle the sacred Ganga water, and then, my boys...
They went home. 3-4-3. Southern empires simply refused to keep what they win. Rajendra hauled the holy water south and named a whole city after the stunt. The Palas, for their part, pretended the whole thing never happened. Their records don't mention it once. The Chola records mention it constantly. Meanwhile, Bengal's greatest export was boarding a boat. Meet Atisha, born near Dhaka, star professor at Vikramashila, the most headhunted academic in human history. His CV already included a 13-month sea voyage to Sumatra for a 12-year degree, as one does. He was also, per Tibetan sources, the man who once brokered peace between two warring kings, a monk mediating an interstate war. Academia had range back then. Then Tibet came calling. In the Tibetan telling, a king raised his own body weight in gold and spent all of it recruiting this one professor.
The gold is merely the signing bonus, master. Tibet needs a teacher.
Keep the gold. I will come for the students.
He went. Tibetan Buddhism still runs on his syllabus, 9 centuries later. Bengal didn't just export the world's finest cotton, it exported a religion. Back home, the dynasty was finding exciting new failure modes. King Mahipala II opened his reign by jailing both his brothers. Family vibes, not great. Then came Divya, a chief from the Fisherman caste who was also a senior Pala official. He rebelled, killed the king, and seized the Pala homeland itself. Was this India's first recorded peasant revolt, or a palace insider's power grab? Historians have fought over it for a century. The answer is probably yes. The rebels held the homeland for years, leaving a victory pillar tradition, credits to them, standing in a lake in Bangladesh. The revolt lost. The pillar is winning. Meanwhile, the jailed brother Ramapala got out with one mission: take it all back. One small problem: he had no army. So Ramapala pioneered a military strategy historians politely describe as going door to door. He visited every baron in the region with gifts.
Love the cause, Your Majesty. Love it. Quick question. What's in it for
Land. Preposterous amounts of land.
the dynasty?
14 barons purchased individually. The court poem itemizes the receipts. He didn't inspire an army, he invoiced one. It worked. 14 invoices later, the homeland was Pala again. The rebel king Bhima was captured and executed. He had ruled well. Bengal remembered him kindly. And then Ramapala, this is true, immediately implemented the rebels' demands. Lower taxes, new temples, win the war, adopt the platform. Politics. How do we know? A court poet wrote the history as a poem where every verse reads two ways. One way, it's the Ramayana. The other way, it's Ramapala. 215 verses, all double meanings. The longest sustained pun in human history. And it's our only surviving narrative history of the era. Scholarship. Ramapala died old and grieving, walking into the Ganga. After him, the Palas simply faded. 4 centuries of empire, and historians can't agree who the last Pala even was. Enter the Senas, Bengal's proud new ruling house. Point of origin, Karnataka, the deep south. A southern power that came north and, revolutionary idea, stayed. Vijayasena spent a 60-year reign vacuuming up Bengal, scrap by scrap. His strategic masterstroke, historians agree, simply refusing to die. His inscription brags he even sent a navy up the Ganga, a river fleet run by southern immigrants in Bengal's own land of boats. Sometimes you hire out-of-towners. Under the Senas, the money and the prestige swung back to orthodox Hinduism. Bengal's famous Buddhist campuses began, very quietly, to starve. Budgets, not battles. His son Ballala Sena was the Sena mood personified. A warrior king who mainly wanted to finish his books. Wrote an encyclopedia of gifts, then started one on omens. He died before finishing the omen book. Didn't see it coming. His son Lakshman Sena inherited the kingdom and the homework. He finished his father's book and then assembled the greatest poetry court Bengal had ever seen.
In the spring, Krishna dances with the cowherd girls.
Magnificent. More of this. Less of whatever the army keeps sending me.
That's Jayadev, composing the Gita Govinda, still sung in temples every day 800 years later. This quote banked actual immortality. Footnote 1. Bengal's notorious caste ranking system, long blamed on Ballala Sena, that attribution comes from genealogists writing 400 years later. Contemporary evidence, 0. Locals near Nadia still point out Ballal Sen's palace. Archaeologists finally dug it up. It's a Buddhist stupa from the Pala era. The man cannot catch a break. Oh, and Lakshman Sena got a calendar era named after him. That starts 60 years before his reign. Probably his birthday. A king so venerable, his clock started at birth. Footnote 2. Lakshman Sena was crowned at roughly 60 years old. File that away. His age is about to matter enormously. Because 2,000 kilometers west, at a Gurid army recruitment office, history was being made. By a hiring manager.
Next. Short. Arms down to the knees. Odd look for cavalry. We can offer minimum stipend.
Minimum? I'm a warrior of the Kannauj.
You're a warrior with a posture situation. Next.
Meet Bakhtiyar Khalji. Rejected at Ghazni. Rejected again at Delhi. So he rode east with nothing. Scraped up a 2-village fief on the frontier and started raiding. And yes, the same chronicler who mocked his looks also rates him bold, wise, and enterprising. So the performance review was mixed. Every raid bought more horsemen. Within a decade, the 2-time reject commanded a private army. Updated scoreboard, job offers 0. Armies 1. Around 1200, his riders stormed what they took for an enemy fortress at Odantapuri. High walls, strong gates. It fit the profile. It was a university. The monks inside were unarmed. The conqueror's own chronicler recorded what followed, and none of it is funny. They killed them all. Afterwards, the soldiers found the library and went looking for someone who could tell them what the books said. There was no one left. Only then, the chronicle says, did they understand. The whole fortress had been a place of study. For the record, the chronicle names Odantapuri. Nalanda's destruction that year was never written down, only inferred. What's certain is the libraries never recovered. The great campuses never recovered. Indian Buddhism had been fading for centuries. Patronage, politics, time. This was the final blow to a patient already on life support. Then Bakhtiyar turned east, toward rich, old, poetry-filled Bengal. What happens next comes from one book, written 50-odd years later from the winner's war stories. Meet the author.
Minhaji Siraj, court historian. I interviewed the veterans myself, only lightly embellished. The astrologers had long foretold it. Bengal would fall to a conqueror whose arms hung below his knees. The wise read the omens and quietly left town.
Note the prophesied mark of doom, long arms, the exact feature that failed him at 2 job interviews. The chronicler wrote the setup and the punchline. In 1260, the 80-year-old Lakshman Sena was advised to evacuate too. The old king refused to abandon the city. 80. Remember? Bakhtiyar skipped the 2 guarded highways into Bengal and hacked through the Jharkhand jungle instead, a route considered impossible for cavalry. Surprise? Total. He rode so hard that only 18 horsemen kept pace. 19 armed Turks trotted into the capital, and the good people of Nadia concluded, horse salesmen. At the palace gate, the salesmen drew swords. The king was at lunch. Gold dishes on the table. He left barefoot through the back door by boat. Now, before the coward jokes start, and Bengal has endured 8 centuries of them, let's actually check the scoreboard. An 80-year-old arts patron ambushed at an unwalled riverside retreat by an attack no one saw coming. And his family? Kept ruling eastern Bengal for another 30 years. 18 men conquered Bengal is the winner's version. The army was right behind them, and they took the western half. Still an all-time heist, though. Bakhtiyar made Lucknowti his capital, struck coins in his boss's name, technically still staff, and ruled. Bengal's religion, for the record, shifted over centuries. Not that afternoon. And now, the ending. In 1206, Bakhtiyar decided to conquer Tibet. Why? A mountain market there sold 1,500 horses a day, and he wanted the supply chain. Quick note, did Tibet even notice being invaded? Tibetan records show no invasion at all. He may have conquered the wrong mountains. 10,000 cavalry rode north into the mountains, across an ancient stone bridge of 20 archers. He posted 2 officers to guard it. Remember the bridge? The mountain valley fought back hard, and the locals burned every field along his retreat. For 15 days, no grass, no firewood, no food. So the cavalry ate the cavalry. The horse market expedition, eating its own horses, all the way back down the mountains. And the bridge? The 2 officers guarding it had a workplace dispute. Both stormed off the job. The locals strolled out and quietly dismantled the arches. Trapped at the river, the army tried to swim. Of 10,000 men, about 100 made it home. Assam carved a victory inscription into a rock. Still there. Bakhtiyar reached Devkot and shut himself in his room. He could not face the families of 10,000 men. For 3 days, no one saw him. On the 3rd day, his own lieutenant Ali Mardan entered the sick room, drew back the sheet, and ended him. The conqueror of Bengal, dead within 2 years of his conquest, under a sheet, at the hand of his own lieutenant. Undone by a horse market, a bridge, and a workplace dispute. His officers spent a decade assassinating each other, while Bengal perfected its favorite policy, ignoring Delhi. Epilogue. 30 years later, a Tibetan pilgrim reached Nalanda, battered, looted, mostly empty, and found a class in session. One teacher, 90 years old, 70 students, fed by a local Hindu patron. In the wreck of the greatest university on earth, someone was still taking attendance. So, the final scoreboard for the elected empire. The thrones, gone. The umbrellas, never recovered. The seashell economy, replaced, centuries later, by coins nobody had asked for. But Tibet still studies Atisha's syllabus. Temples still sing Jayadev daily. Somapura still stands. And Bengal sang about Mahipala for 500 years of harvests. Bengal elected a king once and got 4 centuries. Everything after, Senas, Sultans, Mughals, the company, nobody voted for. Turns out the election was the weird part.